This video will frustrate you. I know that it frustrated me. You see, a while back, we published a video on how the Portuguese language has influenced Japanese, and it was always my goal to make a sequel to that, tracing how the reverse has happened, how Japanese has influenced Portuguese. But it became pretty evident early on that that promised sequel was not as promising as I hoped. And it's left me with a question, and it's a question that I'm asking all of you because you may very well be able to help me out here. Shouldn't there be more Japanese in Portuguese? The very first Japanese dictionary produced for non-Japanese speakers is the Nippo Jinsho. It was published around 1608, has over 32,000 entries, and was compiled by Jesuit missionaries. It's a testament to how robust the relations between Japan and Portugal were in much of the 16th and 17th centuries. But I'm not here today to talk about what happened when Portuguese speakers arrived on the shores of Japan. Rather, I'm interested in the reverse, except that in this case, I'm not talking about Japanese speakers arriving on the shores of Portugal, but rather on the shores of the largest Portuguese-speaking country, Brazil. Brazil is, as many of us know, home to a wide variety of diaspora. There's an enormous Italian population, a large German population there. There's also the largest Japanese diaspora outside of Japan. In fact, it's so large that in 2022, the Japanese government estimated that approximately 2 million individuals of Japanese descent were residing in Brazil. The reasons for this go back to the economic conditions in Brazil in the early 20th century. At that time, Brazil's largest export was coffee, but Brazil was facing quite a severe shortage of labor on its plantations. So severe that the Brazilian government was actually willing to subsidize ships of migrant workers, and some Japanese were only too keen to take advantage of the situation. So in 1908, the Japanese ship, the Kasatu Maru, docked at the port of Santos, bearing over 700 Japanese workers. And the immigration from Japan to Brazil only continued from then up until the 1970s. And it seems reasonable to assume that there are going to be some linguistic consequences to this. But this is where my research hit a roadblock. I couldn't actually find as many as I would suspect there to be, especially given the phenomenon of batianês, which is a sort of kind of slang, informal contact language in which speakers mix Portuguese and Japanese syntax and vocabulary in communication. But despite this, there's actually apparently very little uniquely Portuguese-Japanese vocabulary. Yes, there is a lot of Japanese vocabulary in Portuguese, but most of those refer to concepts, cultural phenomena, things and food that are uniquely Japanese and that have been adopted across all languages. Things like katana, kimono, futon, etc. The one exception that I could find is biombo, which is the standard Portuguese way of referring to Japanese folding screen constituted by panels. In general, in English, of course, we would usually just call that a folding screen, but I'm pretty surprised that there isn't more evidence of Portuguese adoption of Japanese words in Brazil. But maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe my instinct is actually off here. I shouldn't be expecting that much change. And if so, why? This is why I'm kind of reaching out to all of you. I'd really like your help here. Shouldn't there be more Japanese in Portuguese? Let me know in the comments below. And if you are able to point out something interesting, I'll definitely try and make a follow-up video. Goodbye for now. I almost forgot to say, on the subject of batianês, there are some really interesting examples that you can find in this article that I consulted. I'll leave the link in the description below if you want to check out more.